under control.
Hey, I'm just following orders. Let me get one of those slow motion pictures, bro. One of the slow motion pictures.
You gotta shoot at 60 frames per second.
Come on, that.
They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it coast shit. You see me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. Coming up, I'm about to bullshit. They see me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my body, real niggas right beside me. Damn right, I brought my army, going up like a rocket, and can't nobody stop me. These niggas garbage, so watch your mouth, boy. Coming all black, slithering house, call me mouth, boy. I'm off the hip like a cowboy. I'm a king, you should bow, boy. Shorty like that, man, you cut up, nothing I can handle. 144 in the booth, going Rambo. Niggas do you dirty like a stick in a bando. That's why I play the corner like a bum with a banjo. I'ma lead by example. Ooh, keep on sobbing, got this bitch off the hand, got the juice, got the drip, about to hit the bitch with the salt. It ain't rap, this is salt. Can't taste a bitch unless you with the coke. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it coast shit. Hey. One West, one West, one West, one West, one West. Coming up on my I do it how a veteran be. You better than me. I'm Reggie at the edge of the key. It's all money, no honey. Think you settling? See, you locked up, fucked up, and it's back to the streets. It's One West. You can check the residency. I reside with soldiers died on the soles of their feet. Cause there's death before designer. Ain't no coward in me. Cause I'm cold as a bitch's shoulder. You ain't calling a week. Get the cooking on this beat. Hope you like it well done. Got them killers rolling with me and they all red rum, red rum, red rum. Got you fuckers scared some. Get the banging on this beat till my fucking head numb. Black Glock, red drum, black and yellow Air Ones. Homie, you ain't got a vest. I suggest you wear one.
Told these niggas we was going up. They was doing a lot of talking. Now these niggas ain't saying shit.
Feeling like a legend in this shit. Lil nigga, I'm past veteran. Never feeling third. Lil nigga, I'm past second. Guns, I gotta have them all like Ash Ketchum. Shotty break a nigga ribs up like his wife left him. We all stepping. Kill you with kindness cause I'm dead nice. That 5'7" put you 6 feet, not talking height. That judge giving out 5, but you doing life. These hands are rude GPS. A mean right. That's mean right. We build different, you know the vibes. And we stamped it authentic, we notarized. I keep a 144 because I know a kind. Noah's Ark, you know I'm with animals when we flowing by. We back again, no cap, when I'm with Cap again. Yeah, they say they want smoke until we matching them. Everything righteous, so you know when we get back at them, you get hit up with a K, but no acronym. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it coast shit. You see me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. Coming up, I'm about to bullshit.
West till they bury me. I'm One West till they bury me. I'm One West till they bury me. I be One West to the death till they bury me. One West till they bury me. I'm One West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of Pharisee. Speaking heresy and get you fucked up apparently. It's like they daring me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me. They ain't listening. Every bar nitroglycerin. Hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Get them dividends or we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit. I told you shit phenomenal. Nah, but he abdominal. So what you suckers trying to do? Rhyming comical. Guess it's funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to them pussy niggas that's popping shit. Team of all-stars. I coach them up like I'm Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologists. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I vomit this and regurgitate for the audience. They start applauding this cause the competition is fraudulent. From the era where niggas smoke you up like a parliament. The flow been stupid. Shit has gotten retarded since all the dominance of one West rising to prominence. Cause I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. They want a nigga quiet, mute my maneuvers, but I ride like I got Groupons for Uber. Rhymes hard like they been viewed by Medusa. 9 milli Luger, 17 in the Ruger. Only need a few to sit up in your medulla. Obligata for the regatta, niggas wildin', they win every dollar. They riding by in black Impalas, let the semi holler. A showstopper, been as proper since the teeny bopper. But now I'm going them off Patron, a premium of vodka. I put extensions on the Glock, modified the chopper. The swore heavy, war ready, and that's working mama. No marijuana, say I got the loudest silence on it. When I'm up on it, ain't no rapper do it like I do it. A lot of spitties and writers, but when they eat on, none of them can get to the fire around with me. And I had them niggas feel like a tire, but down the deep, and I'm still dope as a piper. Every bar burn hard like a spoon with a lighter. Igniter, I'm winning, coming through with the title because U.P.K. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me.
Yeah, on 44 shit, you know what I mean? Busy man, busy man. Look, when that shit drop, you step all the way on their neck, step on their neck and they head with that shit.
Friday, I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the mud, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel, he nice but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. They mad, I'm too solid, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. No, they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rank for real. I got real soldiers kill for me, nigga. tapped on them like bolt cutters. You cannot play both sides, gotta choose your colors. See him throwing that one up with that W, that's my blood, bro. Flying in, I ain't show no mercy, I'm gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel. I got time to keep, they thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the dust, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel. He's nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. Ooh, I got a made, circle tight, yeah, back and seal. Said they want my life, I ain't work, I got rain for real. Backstage.
Yeah, nigga. Fake ass nigga.
You ain't no Israelite, bitch, you a gospelite, bitch.
Fuck you talking about? Hey,
If that nigga won't war, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. Hawk, I keep that stick locked, loaded, boy, he'll fade you line up. Young nigga name is Slayer. What you think, boy, you be done to try. South Coast, we body. UPK, you solid, Little bitch think I'm crazy, think I'm playing like bitch, I ain't the one. Warfare every day, so who is you, bitch? I don't need your love. Killers right round the way. What you think? I love this brotherhood, hood. More than you, bitch. Sharp on shit, I'm bout it. UPK, too solid. Fuck nigga don't want war. It ain't enough clips in your army. All the bitches wanna take my piece. All they hoes wanna take my piece. All the niggas wanna take my piece. No, I can't let a dog take it from me. I can't let a dog take it from me. You a hoe study and you dummy. And these bitches really out this bitch walking around like they don't know nothing. And a lame nigga fall for them and get set up for the coins and get gunned down, man down. Should've took the time, get a damn no. But I see the shawty and I show her. She could never get a priest hoeing. You a dirt ass, rust ass neck bitch with a fake ass jewelry. In Tennessee while I'm touring. It's a Tennessee, but she luring. Yeah, that sucker duck bitch ass boy, fuck nigga over that bit mugger. I say, if that nigga won't war, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. Hawk, I keep that stick locked, loaded, boy, he'll fade you line up. Young nigga name is Slayer. What you think, boy, you be done to try. South Coast shit, we bout it. UPK, too solid, Little bitch think I'm crazy, think I'm playing like bitch, I ain't the one. Warfare every day, so who is you, bitch? I don't need your love. Killers right round the way. What you think? I love this brotherhood, hood. More than you, bitch. You a lame nigga down to me. Eat candy, but I'm sucker free. You a little nigga, ain't nothing to me. Base up, boy, I fit a beat. Yeah, AR-223. Draco with a magazine. Yeah, that clip run like limousine. I shoot your ass in the spleen. Boy, I bust your ass in the temple. We debating by the temple. Tell the truth, boy, you's a victim. And you squirm off like a lizard. Nigga walk down my road. Why does nigga come down my road? Boy, come down my road. Boy, I charge your ass toll fee. I'm a real big priest, nigga. UPK play for keys, nigga. Commander General get a damn order, but ain't nothing me to damn kill you. I was stalking his ass like a cat. All weapons, boys full of tech. Boy, like a close comeback. Nigga got popped off for a neck. If that nigga won't war, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. Hawk, I keep that stick locked, loaded, boy, he'll fade you line up. Young nigga name is Slayer. What you think, boy, you be done to try. South Coast shit, we bout it. UPK, too solid, Little bitch think I'm crazy, think I'm playing like bitch, I ain't the one. Warfare every day, so who is you, bitch? I don't need your love. Killers right round the way. What you think? I love this brotherhood, hood. More than you, bitch.
Christ said 7 women gonna be on one nigga in the end time. Nigga, fuck wrong with you, boy. I'm stressed by that damn hoe ass bitch. Fake ass nigga too. Dumb ass motherfucker. Fuck you.
Backstage.
Yeah, you know what it is. 140 for the rapper, busy man shit, nigga. They take their head over, nigga.
Okay, when Eve did to Adam, I just pray my love don't lie to me. Swing the iron like Samson, I can't let no hoe lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Niggas think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying. This shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Suckle up and stay alert. Another cop just stretched the nigga. He a demon, this an exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. You took that oath in blood, then you know I'm gon' get active with you. Fuck the opposition, I see vision. Let me paint the picture. Rappers claim they spit, and I ain't listening. Is it fact if revenge was a woman, now I scope that bitch like Jacob. So I war, we gon' run the summer. It's gon' be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. Ask who run this shit, but they question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers, hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I can't do that, bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on his Glock and call it Young Pay. How you real trigger know them dots? You a bird feeder, claiming he a demon. What's a demon to a cold leader? What he saying something, I ain't hear him, this shit life. It ain't about who got the gun, it's about who gon' up that pipe first. I turn a bad situation to a game changer. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raised up the chain frame. Shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand that feeds you, you'll never get that hand back. He bitch about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody wanna be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. I'm a certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, out with that hollow sign, yeah, this the rim accord. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my bread, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get that boy lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
Can you hear me now? Testing. Can you hear me now? God, no, it's going through. Most of the cracks. All right, yeah. Most of the cracks. All right. Hey, Yak, the one that's on the conference call, you can really just go to and listen on StreamYard. You're gonna try to keep the conference call for people that that's maybe because we got some truck drivers, so that's better for truck drivers. You know what I'm saying? But if you at home, you can go ahead and pop it up on here. You know what I'm saying? And watch it on here. Watch the class on here because it'll be better because you can answer your questions. The questions can be heard 10 times better on here. But if you were a truck driver or something, you doing something, you got to put your earbuds in your ear and you got to put your phone down. Then you can listen on the call. You know what I'm saying? If you slaving, do it that way. You know what I mean? All right. So basically, Mound Bayou was a black town. These two brothers, they got together. If I'm not mistaken, they bought the same land they were slaves on. Right? They bought it from this devil because he was trying to. I think he was like retiring or something like that. And he sold his land. So these brothers, who was basically geniuses, they reindustrialized farming techniques. Like black people, you don't even realize you're the best farmers, right?
Right.
That's why you go to California, who you see out there with all the damn farms? Who you see? Go ahead. There's a car like a mug out there. Utica farm too. We just kind of like, how do you put it? We kind of like. So go ahead. Did you hear what I said about the StreamYard?
I didn't hear about the StreamYard.
Okay, Con, I got a link I put into our chat. It's in the messages and everything. If you want to go, it's better to go on there because you can answer your questions and it can be heard better. You understand what I'm saying? And you could just unmute yourself. But if you had slavery or something, you got to put your phone in your pocket and put a headphone in, then you can do the conference call then. But if you just sitting watching class, go ahead. I would just go into StreamYard. All right. All right. So like at that time, like black people, we kind of more like, I don't want to say the word, but it's like the best way to put it. Like we think of ourselves as evolved from farming because we did all of that. You know what I'm saying? We did all that. We built the nation, right? You built the whole nation. And now we kind of like in our minds, we graduated from the farming part, right? Because they want to pay pennies and we can't survive off of that. So then that's why they started finding, Yashikars, some of the, brothers that may be coming over this country illegally because, they just trying to get out of, they violent country, right? They found a desperate tribe and then just exploited them. They know that at this time, we're not as desperate as we were at one point, just as a tribe. But they are because they don't think they cities and they countries is dangerous because of them. It's because of devils. It's not because of Hispanics. It's because the devil is the reason why it's expensive. I mean, why it's hell out there, why it's dangerous, you're getting killed and all of that. You know what I'm saying? They the ones that doing it. They the ones that's putting all the markups and all of that illegal drugs because if it didn't have a use or didn't have a need for drugs, they wouldn't be trying to produce the drugs, right? So they can live halfway decently, right? They come in their country, take all the natural resources out, leave them poor, and then now only thing they can do to try to survive is try to sell some drugs out to Americans, man, or other countries because they took all of their resources in South America and like the Mexican area, the Mesoamerica, all of those places there are controlled by devils and other oppressors, man. They are controlled. So they came over, they snatched everything. So you can't even you might have fishermen, they can't get their money off of that. You might have had it's plenty of oil down in South Carolina and in the Caribbean. There's plenty of oil down there. They keep them out of making profits off of it. See what I'm saying? And now they just they make them workers, which they make their dollars garbage, just paper. How much their money is, right? And then now that's another way they do to keep them poor. Now, if you see how they living out there, they living in what favelas, no AC, barely, some people don't have running water, none of that, right? But you go in where those devils live at, man, they living in high rises, right? And you think I'm lying. They live in like the rich and the famous out there just chilling, man. Off of all of their money and all of their labor. They in slavery too. Ain't no different, man. They enslaved. They living almost like in a third world country. Some of them cities out there. Not all, of course. You know what I'm saying? But they living. But they seeing the wealth everywhere else, and they seeing they can't take a part of it, man. They can't take a part of it. All right. So, and that's like I said, we are those farmers. That's why these brothers they revolutionized farming. They made it such like they made a lot of money off of this. Became like it's a small area. So don't think it wasn't as big as like Black Wall Street, but it became as big as it probably was going to get, especially in Mississippi. You understand? Mississippi is probably the most racist state in the country, right? Everybody knows about Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? They still probably call you a nigger out there to this day. Like, act like, hey, nigger, this for real? Like, that's how you getting done? Like, exactly. Like, they don't care, man. Like, they still are that racist there. But everybody else kind of like, we gonna be more closet racist. Even Dave Chappelle, he had a joke. He said that Mississippi, they got that pure race. He said, mwah. He said, it's pure. That's how he explained it in Mississippi. He said, that wasn't used to the racism being so great, like over there. You know what I'm saying? Right. But that's how Mississippi is, man. That's still racist as hell down there, even to this day. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I forgot to mention too, one thing about this land, like when we went over a couple weeks ago, we went over Emmett Till, right? When she had to come to Mississippi, they had to smuggle her down from Chicago. She couldn't come down like everybody else came. She had to sneak down here. And when she did, when she had to stay at, she had to stay in Mound Bayou, where those other brothers was at, because they didn't want to come over there because they'll be outnumbered. They coming to Mound Bayou, and they knew the land, they knew all of that, so they didn't want to deal with it. They just left them alone over there. But she had to basically get smuggled into Mound Bayou, and Mound Bayou was in a good place because it was strategic, because it was on the rail, it was right. The railroad went straight through the town, so it became a bus stop or a train stop, right? And that was good because that helped to sprawl up their businesses. But of course, once we get involved in cotton, all of the prices, everything go to hell down, right? And the city went to pretty much nothing. All right. Hey, y'all, can you give me a water out of there, Bubba Kashaw? So the city pretty much went to nothing. Even to this day, it's not much going on there. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, Desmond checking in.
Hey, young man, Desmond. Did you hear what I said about the StreamYard link?
I ain't hear you say. Could you say
Oh, wait,
again?
you probably had a slave, right?
No, I'm out today.
Okay, Con.
But I'm at the store. I ain't got my store with me right now.
Okay, Con. When you get to the house and you get kind of like stationary, you could go to the video on YouTube. There's a link on there. Click that link and just watch it on your phone. So if you got any questions, we can hear it better. It will go through clearer. Okay. Okay. All right. Water. All right. So that's Mound Bayou for you, right? All right. And what else about Mound Bayou? Anybody got any questions on Mound Bayou at all? All right. Waiting for the brother to get back because we're gonna switch it over. But basically, that's what Mound Bayou was. It was other cities too that was owned by black people, and that's just one of them, right? I'm trying to see what else is about that city. All right, let me see here. Hey, you almost done back there? All right. You almost done?
I don't see any water. They got Coke.
All right, good. All right, go. Huh?
So why with the Coke? I didn't see any water.
You didn't see no water back there? Not in the refrigerator either? Not in the coolers?
Let me check the Coke.
Okay, God, the water. All right. Let's see here. All right. So, yeah, because most black people, when they came out here, they were sharecroppers, right? You might know what sharecroppers are? You might know what sharecroppers are.
So like this, sir.
Go ahead.
Is it farmers?
God, that's farmer. Yeah, they are farmers. But all right. All right, sharecroppers, I'll just break it down to you. Like when we got released from slavery and everything, right? There wasn't many like you didn't have a lot of jobs or anything like that, right? So what they would do, they were already trained farmers. They've been farming their whole life, right? So, and since they couldn't enslave anybody anymore, what they would do is they would say, okay, you do what they would do is say, hey, you do this farm, right? You get this farm. We'll rent you out all of the tools. You'll rent out all of the seeds, all the stuff you do. And what you would do is you'll go in and we'll even feed you for the time, right? And then what you'll do is when we sell all of the stuff, when we sell all of this, whatever you produce from the crops, then you'll get a portion of that. Let's say 20, 30%, right? And what they really was, they charged you for so much stuff for using their stuff. They pretty much didn't make any money because they had to pay to lease the equipment. They had to pay for, they had to eat, right? Because they didn't have anything. You understand? They didn't have nothing. They just came out of slavery. So what did they have? Nothing. They had basically the few clothes they had in the slave quarters, right? And that was it. So when it seemed like a good idea at the time, but then they come to find out they basically were still slaves. And they still kept all of the money that they had, right? Still kept all of the money. All right. Read any of these. All right. All right, sis, can you do me a favor? Okay. Can you click that for the I didn't want him to leave just now. But can you click on that real quick on the on there? Click where it's click that where it says about the on the website. You see the website right there? Click the website and scroll down a little bit. Yeah.
No, the website is over.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah, click that. It says add the stream. Here we go. And all right, now go to the website up there.
Up here?
Yeah, at the top. And then start scrolling down so we can read it. Yeah, God. Yeah, she already clicked it to the screen. Just start scrolling down and start reading it for me. All right. Start reading that for me.
All right, so Mound Bayou was an all-black town in the Yazoo Delta in northwest Mississippi. It was founded during the spring of 1887 by 12 pioneers from Davis Glen, a fleeting black colony impacted by failing agriculture prices, natural disasters, and hostile race relations.
Mm-hmm.
The migration movement was led by Isaiah Montgomery, former patriarch of Davis Glen, purchased from the Louisville, New Orleans, and Texas Railroad. L-N-O-N-T. Mound Bayou bordered a new rail line between Memphis, Tennessee, and Vicksburg from 1890 to 1915. Mound Bayou was a land of promise for African Americans, encapsulated in this promise were self-help, race, pride, economic opportunity, and social justice in a self-segregated community, designed for blacks to have minimum contact with whites. until integration was a viable option to black freedom.
So yeah, that's just telling you a little bit about it. See, this brother Isaiah, he put all of that stuff together. He got other people that came in that was pioneers that wanted to help. They all knew about farming and all. He gathered some brothers together so they can make this, this city. They could keep it from black people. I mean, keep it for black people, right? All right, young man Charles trying to say something. Can you click on him real quick?
That's a lot, sir. All right, I clicked on him.
There you go.
Oh shit. This is Salakia Anwar.
Go ahead.
Honestly, I done forgot what it was that I was trying to say back when. I was trying to get on about the Mississippi stuff, but I just didn't know how to do so. That's why I was reaching out.
Okay, Kyle, what you forgot what the question was?
Khan, I'm gonna go ahead and mute up.
All right, Kyle. All right, you can go back to where it's just me up there, and make sure everybody down there is unmuted. That's listening. No, you don't. You have to hit remove. You could just, huh? No, he can mute himself. But go down. Is there somebody else in the room, right next to it? Yeah.
Known to this nation.
No, not that. That's the video. All right. Okay. You can put it just on me, right? You can put it on. I was sure. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's the brothers that's on. All right. Okay. You could change the thing to when it's still showing the that we'll be reading. Change it to that. Don't worry, we're gonna get them right. We're gonna get them right. It's all new, so we gotta get everything together. Hey, mute yourself in the background so it won't be coming back to the screen. Yeah, Abishai. Yeah, Abishai, mute your phone or whatever. But yeah, I don't know if I want you to do it because they might not be to unmute themselves. Mute them when they got something to say.
Okay, so go back up.
Yeah, unmute them and then Abishai and mute yourself. All right. Mute yourself, Abishai. Okay, Kyle. I want to be the unmute so they can say something. All right. All right. Now go to the thing that's showing the video. It should be me in the video. It should be on the right of that where it has the three brothers up there. No, up top. It went right below the screen. I mean, right below what's being streaming. Yeah. No, should be the one that got the video up. You know the one. I mean, the one for the website, so you can go back to reading that. You took the video off? Okay, you might have to go back to the video and click the click the website.
Right there.
Do the one to make it bigger. All right, that's why we can do that. All right, go back to reading it.
All right, Mound Bayou had a U.S. Post Office, 6 churches, banks, stores, and several public and private schools. Its economy depended on the production of cotton, timber, and corn.
Yep. So we was making money. We started making money because the cotton boom was big. It had a worldwide demand on cotton. Worldwide. It was being demanded from everywhere. And we how everything is getting made in China today? Back in that day, everything was made in the USA. So we was getting all of that money. But no, well, we wasn't, but America was. So we was getting all that slavery. That's what we was getting. All that hell. That's what we was getting.
Right.
All right, keep going.
And corn. And being an agent for the L.N.O.T. Railroad politically, Mound Bayou's mayor, Isaiah Montgomery, protected it from white violence through political accommodation. Montgomery also ensured Mound Bayou's growth by working closely with Booker T. Washington after 1900. through this Lieutenant Charles Banks, socially Mound Bayou had it I can't say it. Expeditionally low crime rate, high morals, i.e., no gambling or sale of alcohol.
Stop there. Say right there. See that? We had good, more like, don't get me wrong, you can have, there's nothing wrong with gambling and there's nothing wrong with drinking alcohol. But you heard what he said. They had high morals, man. There was no violence. So what's all this mess saying black people are violent? What is all of this? You know, everywhere you go now, they say, well, black people, they in jail because they commit the most crime. Why are we committing said crime? Because a crime was committed against us, man. That's why we trying to survive. When we had our own, or you can go to all these cities we had, they had our own. Guess what they always said? No crime. Why do we got crime now? Because of these damn devils, man. They give you all of the stuff. They, man, like in Chicago, I was watching some brothers. They videotaping. They said, "Yo, it's a box full of guns and bullets, just sitting in the middle of the damn street." They giving the guns to them, man. They giving it to them. That's how this happening. Look, I need to do one on COINTELPRO, man. That's why I need to do a class on COINTELPRO. They literally went inside. I did a little bit on it, but I didn't do too much. But they went inside these organizations, and because they're like a black messiah, they was trying to stop from the black messiah from coming. So what they did, they went inside of all these different organizations and infiltrated them, and then got to start doing stuff like selling drugs, start having them fighting each other, and then they got out, and it got out because some brothers, they went and broke into the FBI building while they was I think Muhammad Ali, he was doing a fight or whatever, and they used that fight when I think Muhammad Ali even knew about it, but he started publicizing this fight, right? He started publicizing this fight real heavy, and while they were doing that, they broke into the FBI, and they just took what they can grab. They didn't even get it all. So imagine what they left. And then as they started researching, they started looking at this stuff. This is before we had computers and everything now, right? Where they can encrypt stuff. So all this stuff, they just had documents, right? So they took these documents there and they started reading. That's when they found out about COINTELPRO. And they found out that they basically just came into all these organizations and purposely destroyed the growth of black people. That's why we sell drugs. They don't want to talk about they don't want to talk about this part though. They don't want to talk about all of those crimes that was committed against us. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk. Every time we got ready to rise ourselves up, a devil came and destroyed it. They never want to talk about that. They always go on a hush about that. They don't want to talk about that mess. All right. You can give real. I ain't say you done that. He trying to be done. He trying to sit down and chill, like trying to watch the class. Come on, I need you to work, huh?
Heavy word coming out. Hold on. All right. So like if I could, let me get back to it. So low crime rate, high morals, i.e., no gambling or sale of alcohol, and everyone had to be a useful member of the community.
You had to be useful, right? You had to be useful. You had to do something. Right? So, if they didn't sell alcohol, they didn't gamble. Guess what else they didn't have? Drugs, cocaine, meth. I know meth is relatively new. I get that. But I know it was drugs before that. So they had drugs. They've been having drugs since Egypt. So they had drugs, but they didn't do drugs. Guess who probably did do drugs? The rich devils. They did drugs. They don't have no morals, right? But we had a high morality there, right? We had to be useful. You had to do something. That's like the UPK. You got to make yourself useful. You got to do something in this thing. You can't just sit around and be just here, right? You got to do something. You got to teach. You got to speak. Man, you got to make YouTube videos. You got to do whatever. You got to do something. You better at least share this video. Nah, you gotta share a video or something. You gotta help push this truth. Keep reading.
And everyone had to be a useful member of the community through outlets like a town's newspaper. Demonstrate. Mound Bayou promoted education as an essential path to community survival, in particular vocational education and scientific agriculture through the Mound Bayou Normal and Industrial Institute from 1907 to 1915.
So
infrastructure.
What that did, what they basically saying is they promoted education, right? There's nothing wrong with getting higher education, right? But he also promoted vocational studies. Vocational studies is things that you can always do to make money. You can't, like right now, it's silly to be, if you black, it's silly to be a psychologist, right? Do we need psychologists? Of course. Do we need people that study that? Of course. But we don't need that many. What we need people is who can fix houses, who can build houses, who can put in plumbing, all the plumbing work. That's what we need because we don't have the community first. There's steps to all of that. You got to first have the people that can build. You got to have government and protection. You got to have all these stuff first. As you start growing your society, this person going to open up a grocery store. This person going to open up a farm. This person is going to open up, that's going to sell the tools for everything. This person going to sell all of the seeds. You open up all these things, start to present up all these different stores that you can get all your supplies from. That's all black, right? And then as you start growing up, now when you got all of the needs to survival taken care of, which would be, of course, food, water, shelter, clothing, you know what I mean? Right now, these days, you need some who could do transportation, your electrical stuff in the house, who could do all of the basic necessities. Who's going to keep the construction going? Who's going to keep repairing the roads, right? Who's going to be the truck drivers, right? Who's going to be all these necessities for survival? Once you get those covered, now you can go to the higher things. Start doing psychology, right? You don't need to be a psychologist right now. Who you gonna give all that to? People that can afford it. Who can afford it? Your oppressor. So you're basically gonna help fix them from all of their needs, while your people still struggling because they can't afford you. They can't afford you. Yeah, me, whoever that is. They can't afford your prices, right? Not that you trying to overprice anybody, but they can't afford it because it's not, to them, going to psychologists is not a necessity. They're trying to see how they're going to pay their rent next week. See what I'm saying? Because they don't have nowhere to live. They don't have their own. Because we don't have our builders to build the house. If we had our own builders to build the house, we can sell our own people a house. This housing market that's right now, you can't even find living right now. You can't even move anywhere. It's like a housing crisis right now. You can't find anywhere to live. Black people shouldn't have to worry about that. Black and Hispanic shouldn't have to worry about that. Go ahead, sis.
Why not just do what the Christians do? Just pray.
Yeah, you'll see how far they get you.
Pray into existence.
Yeah, pray, manifest it. That's what you like to say. Manifest. That's their favorite word, man. That word was, I've been hearing that word so damn much. I had to go see if that was actually in the Bible, man. Because just like rapture, you keep hearing it. Is that even in the Bible? Like, it is in the Bible, but not how they think of it as, of course. But, I just like, is this even in the Bible, or just some made up mumbo jumbo that they just keep saying? Manifest, they act like something is like it just appears out of nowhere because you wishing you wanting it. That's not what manifest is. You understand? That's not it. Manifest, you have to do something. Like, we're going to manifest the kingdom. We're not going to sit here and wish on it. We're going to go to work. That's what we're doing now to get the kingdom back. We working right now for the kingdom. You understand? So that's what manifest is. Right? Even devils, when they had manifest destiny. Y'all know about what manifest destiny was? Manifest destiny is devils. They felt as though when they came over here to America, that it was their destiny to manifest them having a rulership, basically, over here in America. But they did something. As the devil that they are, they did something. Exactly. They killed everybody who opposed them. And whoever might oppose them, they gave them syphilis. They gave them smallpox to lower their numbers so they weren't even a fighting chance. They devils, but they did something. So why you gonna let these devils tell you to sit and worship on a star when they never did that? Just like how devils, they want you to do peaceful protests. Ain't no damn thing about none of their protests is peaceful. I'm not saying go around go crazy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy in them. The Boston Tea Party, they got mad over the tax on some damn tea, and they threw it all in the damn ocean about some damn tea. But you march in the street and you got what's it, Kyle somebody written Baca, written something. I don't he really wrote something. I don't know. So this devil, he gotta go and I gotta protect the store owners with an AR-15. And he ain't even old enough to have one. They don't tell you about that though. You gotta be 21 to have AR-15. Exactly. God, that's illegal to have, right? Watch out, that's a dog. I just see him go from back there. Just let you know. A dog just went across from back there. I mean, it should be to where I'm just letting everybody know. So when you're ready to leave out, I don't know if he's still gonna be back there. Just be watching out for him. All right. So, but yeah, that devil, he went out shooting people, killing people, and all that, right? You could put it on me and the screen. Don't just put this on the screen. Yeah, God, throw out. It should be on the right somewhere.
Salaki Adawan. Khan, young man, Abishai, I think he just removed his stream from the video by mistake. I think they'll get it back right.
I got you. I'm working with something.
God. All right. But yeah, so you can keep going.
All right, keep reading. What was that? Mound Bayou promoted education as an essential path to the community. Survival in a particular vocational education and scientific agriculture through the Mound Bayou Normal and Industrial Institute from 1907 to 1915. This infrastructure, along with Mound Bayou function as a railroad center, allowed it to flourish and grow to 8,000 people by 1911. Its noticeable decline occurred during the Great Migration period, 1915 through 1930, in which cotton prices fell. Booker T. Washington passed away, and the black path towards freedom was redirected from independent towns towards the major cities of the United States. Despite its sharp population decline throughout the century, Mound Bayou still exists today as a predominantly black town in Mississippi with 98.6% total black population.
So that tells you right there, when the cotton prices fell, it made it so that it wasn't, we couldn't, us having like our oasis in the middle of literally like the desert with these devils, you know, and now it's all this stuff started happening. I mean, why do you think it failed? Because of course they probably start honestly where I probably stopped, where I probably failed, to be honest with you, was probably because when after they freed us, they probably had our brothers, because the everywhere else wasn't free yet. Like Brazil was still in slavery, and so was other places. So I didn't research this. I didn't think about it till just this moment. But they didn't get free until like the 50s and the 60s. They redirected where they got their cotton and all that other stuff from, and it made it cheap, and it made it so that we could make money off of it, because they didn't want us to come up. Like it's like when they say the Bible says they are confederate against you, they are confederate against you. You don't realize, like, they are literally confederate against you. They hate you. They act like they like you. But these people, especially the ones that got power, they ain't trying to let black people get that. They don't want you there with them. You know why? Because they don't want you to try to help your own people. That's why only ones they let get anywhere close is the most selfish bastards in the world. You see, what they'll do is they'll do a charity and give to somebody that's poor, right? And a lot of times that money doesn't even go to the poor. I already explained that to you. Only 14%. This was 20 years ago, so they probably changed it. But 14% of your charity has to go to the actual charity, and you can gobble all of that up through finance expenses and all of that. So basically, you can go there, don't even spend nothing on that whole charity, and it just be a tax write-off that you get your money clean. It's like how drug dealers clean their money. That's exactly what they're doing, cleaning their money. Exactly, it really is. They money laundering. They just keeping it from, they just make it, and then they get to do a press meeting to look good. I'm giving $1 million to this charity. They get to go up and look good, but I'm giving my money to this charity when all they really doing is giving themselves a tax write-off and putting the money right back in their bank. Go ahead, sis.
Some of our own who have made it to be able to touch millions and billions.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think, they not reaching to help? Because there are a lot of blacks in the movie industry, music, and everything else, sports.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we're still hurting and we have so many who has made it?
That's a loaded question. There's a lot of ways I can go with that. But most of it is selfishness. That's a big part of it. There's a part of us too that wants to try to destroy them. So when we see they got money, some brothers want to kill them and take it from them. That's why you see some of the rappers that got killed. You got that element of everything too. And then for one, the biggest reason is because they make it, they don't think they have to listen to sound counsel, right? Because they making money, they think they're more wiser than Commander General Yahanna, right? Chris Brown probably thinks he's more wise than Commander General Yahanna. You know what I'm saying? Because they got millions of dollars to think they're wise. I'm like, no, you were born with a talent. You know what I'm saying? That's a beautiful thing. You were born with this talent. You know what I mean? LeBron James, he was born to be 6'6" or whatever he is. You know what I'm saying? Most brothers aren't going to be 6'6". Most brothers ain't gonna be like 6'4" and up. That's a very small number of brothers that's 6'4" and up, right? You're talking about probably less than 5% of men. That's 6'4" and up, right? So then you got to be that. Then you got to be athletically gifted and practice your behind off. So they didn't get it by learning how money works and all of that. They didn't get it by that. They got it by developing a skill, which is not a bad thing, but they got that skill, and then they learned as they came up, and then they got money. They learned other stuff from other devils put them in position to, like, you know, with Kanye West, he got in a position to use Adidas. You know what I'm saying? That propelled his wealth. He didn't have to go and make a shoe, promote it, put it all up. He was already famous. See what I'm saying? So now they went from thinking that they were, you know, just a brother, instead of trying to go in and help those brothers and do all of that. They said, no, I've assimilated up higher to them. And then what they quickly show you, even they did Kanye West, they quickly showed him, you are not us. Because remember that devil, Donald Sterling?
Yes.
Right? He was talking all that about black people and everything, right? He didn't have half of what happened to him, even happened to Kyrie. They just told him he got to sell his team. So he got forced. He bought the team for like $500 million or something like that. And I think he sold it for $2 billion. So you forced him to make a profit. If you think about it, just about it, you forced them to make a profit, right? So that's what it is. They think they have become something, and now they don't want to help black people. But the thing that's sad, what's crazy, is that those same people will go and drop $50,000 at a strip club. Am I saying something you don't know?
Sorry, could you say that again?
So even Siri want me to say it again. You heard her. She like, what? Say that one more time. Yeah. Good night. But I'll say it again, Siri. They either go to a strip club and drop $50K at a strip club, or go to a club and then drop $50K on drinks, right? On a bottle. Yeah. They'll drop that type of money. You know what $50K can do for black people, for businesses, for black people trying to own? $50,000. You know what that can do at one time? The reason why black people, you know why it's hard, because you can't make $50,000 in one time. You make that over the year. So your bills stretch all of that out. But $50K, you know what they can give $50K to a business, and what that can do? They can go around and give $50K and they can actually do something. You can say, hey, we need to start up this. They can go Kanye West, Kyrie, it could be all them brothers. Ain't gonna hold nobody out. Oprah Winfrey, Beyonce, her husband Jay-Z, they can all come together. Diddy, they can all come together and they can buy a town in America today. They can buy it, right? Some devils did it. Go to Alpharetta and look at this place called I just forget the name. I'm gonna get it for you in a second. But go to Alpharetta. They got a city over there. It's a whole city. It's a whole city over there. I love talking about it because
is it on Manzan Road?
No.
Okay, that's something different then. But like I said, you see what Akon did, you know he a Hamite. You know what I'm saying? You see what he did.
Oh yeah.
He went and built his own damn city.
Yep, in Africa. All the flies and everything.
But off of who though? Off of who?
Off of you.
Off of us. Off of black folk. I'm locked up and all that. Look, you playing off the fight of what we go through, and you take that money, and now he done went and built him a whole city.
Whole damn city. He gave them all electricity. Avalon, that's what's called Avalon.
Avalon.
Go to Avalon. Y'all get a chance? Go to Avalon. It will piss you the hell off. This is exactly. You don't even know about it. It's a city because I used to work out there. And I went past. I'm like, hell back here. And I took my family down here. They got a whole city built up here. They got houses on the outside of it, and they got a whole city right here. They got a conference center. They got a hotel. They got a Whole Foods. They got a Regal, and they got bars, clubs, all that in this one little area in Alpharetta. And I had to go look. You know me, I'm a little curious, so I like to look at stuff. So I went to go see how much it is to buy an apartment out there. It's high. I think the cheapest one I seen was about $3,000 for like a 1-bedroom.
3,000.
A 1-bedroom, 800 square feet. Yeah. And I just looked at this. I'm like, man, this should be UPK town right here. So you got to get a grocery store. You got a movie theater. You know what I'm saying? The shop should be Boots R Us. You know what I'm saying? You get your hair pieces. Have one for the men, get the hair pieces. One for the sis, they can get all their hair pieces put together. You get your boots. You can get all of that. You know what I'm saying? Got our bars, we can go kick it. And then you got the Coliseum when we want to do Passover. You know what I'm saying? That's what that should be. And they said how much it costs. You know how much it costs for that city? About $100 million for that whole city. God, yeah, $100 million. Like I said, it's I'm not saying it's cheap, right? But it will be cheaper. But you got to think Alpharetta though. Think Alpharetta. Alpharetta is a rich seaside of town.
And niggas don't even go out there though.
Exactly. That's why nobody know about it. I wouldn't know about it if I wasn't working there. I just went by and they kind of got it kind of blocked. I mean, it's not gated, but they got high, build, not like a building, but it's kind of like a little concealed. It's not like you could just be driving by and just see all this stuff over here. No, you don't see it. It's like they got high hedges and all that. You just driving, you be like, damn, all this stuff back here. But
I ain't been past Mansell Road. I'm like,
I don't even know what this is.
When you get on phone, it's like the third exit. I ain't been no further than that.
Okay, no, you gotta go a little bit past that.
You gotta go a little bit more.
A little bit more.
They out there, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's Old Milton Road. I think you gotta get off on Old Milton and make a left. Go, and then it's right there on your right. And you go up, you won't even realize that you could drive right past it, or even really notice it. But there's a whole city damn near back there. And you don't need to leave the city to pretty much do anything. You could get, they got furniture stores, all of that, just right in that whole spot right there.
It sounds like it's closed off from the rest of the city, the way you pretty much described.
I mean, it's enough ready. And you want to say Salakia before you say so. You too wild. But it is kind of, but it's in Alpharetta. It's not like it's in the suburbs, but it's like how they put it up. It look almost like a business district where it's kind of like, it don't look like it's nothing back there. It just look like, it's like when you go back, you would think it'd be a bunch of businesses or something like that. But it's like, you ever go past, you see like it's all like industry type stuff. That's what it seems like. But you go back there, there's a whole damn city. They even got an Apple store back there, man. I know they doing so. They don't put Apple stores unless it's somewhere that costs some money. They don't put out Apple stores ain't in the hood. Go ahead.
Like if I could, they take our playbook every time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they let us out of slavery, Black Wall Street was flourishing. We was doing our own thing. You know what I'm saying? So now they take our playbook and now they trying to do their own thing. They make a city within a city in a city.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They just using our playbook.
And I heard that's not even the only city. They got another one out in Alpharetta too. I ain't see that one yet though, but they said they got another one out there. But yeah, that's just one. They got all of that in there, man. My wife, she work in that area too. She work at like a senior citizen home. They got a grocery store inside the senior citizen home. They got a movie theater. They got all. This place crazy. They ain't got to go outside for nothing. All inside that building. That's how they do out in that area, man. Alpharetta, out there in Forsyth, in that area, Forsyth County. Yeah. But black people once had they stuff over there, and they went and took their whole land and put a lake there. Lake Lanier. Look up. I did a class on it. Lake Lanier. I did a class on the Lake Lanier. That's the city where Lake Lanier is. It was a black city. It's under that lake. Yep. It's like Central Park. It was a black city over there in Central Park, New York. I did a class on that. It's under the park now. As I always put, they always say, okay, this black land, this need to be a park. Oh, this black people land. Okay, this need to be a lake right here, so we could give water to Atlanta. I said we're gonna give water to Atlanta, so we need to have a man-made lake right here. We just, are they gonna move all stuff? Nah, they ain't gonna move everything. We just gonna, flood it out. They even said it's so bad. They even said the thing haunted because a lot of people be going there and they be feeling hands grabbing on them and stuff. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Don't look it up. It says haunted. You say they fell in the lake and they felt hands. You know what I'm saying? Probably angels grabbing them and say, "We gonna get y'all down. Y'all coming with us." but that's Lake Lanier, right? So let's go to some of these videos because we're getting late. It's getting 8:44. So let's try to see if we can go through some of these real quick. Go to the video one, click the video one, and click add to stream.
This one right here.
I can't see this far. I can barely see in front of me. You want me to look all the way up there?
Okay, I think this.
Established all black towns. Mount Bayou, Mississippi, founded in 1887, incorporated in 1898 by former slaves, for decades has been known for its rich culture and African American history. I'm Danny Lewis, and join us today as we visit Mount Bayou, Mississippi. Well, I need to pull up a chair. For those of you that just joined us today, we're here in the office of Mayor Darrell Johnson in historical Mount Bayou, Mississippi, one of the first celebrated African Americans municipality in this entire country. Johnson, thank you for having us today and welcome to the Talk of the Town. It's my pleasure to be here. Now, Mayor, take us back to the beginning, the Mount Bayou story.
Well, Mount Bayou has a great and a rich history. And I always say that African American history really has not been told until you really tell our story. Because we're so deep rooted into African American history. There were men that stayed on this very successful plantation called Hurricane and Briar Plantation, who ended up running the plantation because Jefferson Davis' brother, Joe Davis, who owned the plantation, and along with Jefferson Davis, opted out to go along with this Robert Owen plan that says, this utopian society, let these guys get their education. And that's what they adopted that. And so they allowed those guys to get education. And those guys on that plantation exceeded everybody in education. They studied so strongly. And they ended up being, I say, geniuses. They were agriculture geniuses. They were entrepreneur geniuses. They were engineers. So they were able to draw up cities and do the type of things that so much so that was one of the most successful plantations at that time. And it was I.T. Montgomery's daddy who ended up running that plantation. And he was revered to be such a strong, intelligent man that those guys ended up coming to Mount Bayou. And later on, those young men, Isaac T. Montgomery and Benjamin Green, and they founded some swampland and turned it into a town. And here we are in Mound Bayou, Mississippi.
So this actual town was founded in what year?
1887 it was founded. It was a swamp full of, infested with bears, mosquitoes, and all type of wild animals. But the train ran through it, and the train sold them this property, and they turned this into a great city.
So now tell us a little bit about the founding father on paper, Mr. Montgomery.
Mr. Montgomery actually was again, Montgomery and his cousin, Benjamin T. Green, were noted to be the founders of Mound Bayou. And they actually were they were very smart. They actually, to get people to come here, they actually interviewed them. And they wanted to bring people that wanted to do something. And so they got these people that wanted to do something after Reconstruction to come into Mound Bayou, this part of Mississippi, which is a Mississippi Delta, which is probably one of the most racist areas they could do. But they came here, and this rich alluvial soil, they raised cotton probably better than anybody else in the surrounding areas, that white farmers as well would come and try to bring their cotton into Mound Bayou. These were people that I say were geniuses that really wanted to show what African Americans can do.
So now, in knowing that this town, or this city, has a history of producing a lot of success of a lot of different well-known African Americans, such as Medgar Evers, to be one.
Medgar Evers, we have people that come from Mound Bayou. T. Washington used to come into Mound Bayou. He mentored people, and he ended up having a bank, one of the first banks, African American banks in the area. And again, like I said, Medgar Evers, Dr. T.R.M. Howard, who was Medgar Evers' mentor, and Medgar Evers worked for Dr. T.R.M. Howard. A lot of people don't know he's one of the unsung heroes of the civil rights movement. He was the one that spoke at Martin Luther King Sr.'s church, and Rosa Parks was sitting out there. And 4 days later, Rosa Parks said, "I'm not getting up on this bus." He was the man who inspired these people. He was the one who had the fights with J. Edgar Hoover and told him, "You need to come down here to Mississippi and investigate this Emmett Till trial." And because of that, Emmett Till, now his situation is noted for the starting of the civil rights movement. So Mound Bayou is noted for a whole lot that a lot of people don't know about.
Now we have modern day congressman who is actually one of the only black African American congressman from the state of Mississippi, Benny Thompson. He has roots here as well.
Well, Benny Thompson married from Mound Bayou. He used to come to Mound Bayou and court London Johnson, whose parents owned one of the local stores here. And he ended up taking London, and that's his
Found
wife.
his sweetie here.
That's exactly right.
And also, you have a brother that's a well-known musician, because the Mississippi Delta is known, obviously, for its
can you pause there real quick?
History and foundation of the blues. A lot of great blues musicians. But your brother, who is a well-known blues musician, is from this area.
He's a drummer.
What's kind of funny about this is that you don't hear about these stories about how much we had to fight to have rights, what black people had to go through to get rights. You don't hear about that. You don't know that we had brothers studying to be lawyers, attorneys, and all of this, so that we can actually fight them. We was fighting them in a courthouse. We was fighting them with what's that when you picketing. We was doing all that. He was fighting them on all sides. But now don't get me wrong. We know what we should do. But these are black people. They don't know any better. They don't have the truth, right? But they was fighting on all sides. They didn't care what. They was fighting. Every black person was fighting, right? Was trying to fight to get us in a better situation, right? But you don't hear about these stories. You don't know about what Mound Bayou. You probably never heard of Mound Bayou, have you? Never heard of it, right? You don't know what these two brothers set up. That this city that they set up was one of the safe havens for the people that was in the civil rights movement. And don't even know that these are the people that inspired all of the people that said of the civil rights movement. You don't even notice that. These brothers that did this, brothers, right? But if you're listening to the history learn in the storybooks, they just tell you, well, you was slaves, we let you free, then we gave you some rights, y'all marched and bitched about it, so then we gave you some rights, and then now you still complaining, but you didn't get rights, you didn't get what was taken from you. You didn't get restoration. You didn't get Mound Bayou back. Mound Bayou is a poor city in Mississippi now. Just like the rest of cities in Mississippi. It's a poor city now because they were actually doing better than the devils that lived in Mississippi. Same with Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street ain't even there no more. They built the freeway over it where it was. You notice it's like a common theme where they keep building stuff over where the black towns were. That's what they did. They built the freeway over it. So now they couldn't take the land back and do something with it because it's a freeway now. You can't build into a freeway, right? So now you're not even able to use that land. The rest of the land owned by oppressors. Go ahead. Go ahead. You got something you about to say?
It's a lot, sir, if I may.
Go ahead.
Kind of real heavy, sir, if I may, what you're bringing out. I was watching a documentary about that just a while ago. They called it the urban renewal. Becoming so prosperous, with Black Wall Street, Tulsa, and Oklahoma, and Durham, North Carolina, and hundreds of cities. He just established, I think it was the mid or late 50s, the Urban Renewal Project. They just went to our prosperous neighborhoods. We rebuilt Black Wall Street, and they came back after we rebuilt it and put highways all over it. They call it urban renewal. It's become so terrible and so wide known that some of our people, we call it the Negro Removal Project. That's what they did, because they killed all of our prosperous cities, sir. It's a lot.
Yep. Negro removal. That's what it really was. They just had to dress it up. The Urban Renewal Act. But it's a Negro Removal Act. It was getting your behind up out of there so that you can't prosper no more because you built that up. Because like anybody, man, if you keep building up something and it keeps getting taken away from you, eventually your heart gonna run out. Let's be for real. How many people, how can you that's how you destroy your people. You take away their sense of hope and what they're trying to do. And Black people have been beaten so bad, they taking even all of the hope out of us. We don't think we can build Black Wall Street again. Tulsa, Oklahoma. We don't think we can build Mound Bayou, have our own city again. We don't think we can do that. You know why? Because they took away our sense of even liking or loving one another, man. At this point, Black people love one another. They don't, like, one part about this, they don't tell you, like, you might not see it on here, but these brothers, they interview people before they let them come in the city. You had to get an interview. You couldn't just pop in here. You gotta, hey, you sit down here and okay. Why you want to move here, sir? All right, a better opportunity. Okay. What opportunity you trying to get in? What you trying to do? Okay. What can you offer the community? You know what I'm saying? They had to do their 90 days. See what I'm saying? You had to prove yourself. You had to prove yourself worthy to be here. Right? Let me check your, I don't want to say this because it could be looked upon as the wrong way, but let me check your criminal background. I don't necessarily, because how these devils, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, let me see the people that you were around and let's see what they got to say about you.
It's like more so like, let me check your credentials.
Yeah. You got some references?
Yeah, let me see what you got.
Let's see some references. Yeah. They interview people before they let them in this place, man. Just like even when you come into UPK, it might not be a formal interview, but you being watched. They know all about you. They know more about you than you know about them. I promise you. They know how your family, they know how many kids you got. And brothers, they gonna tell other brothers, say, okay, that's what about this brother here. We checking them out. Okay, this what I'm concerned with. Okay, we're gonna see how he act in this situation. And you get tested. You gonna get tested. You pass, get a name. If you've been here a while, you ain't got a name, you should know something.
Somebody trying to chime in. I don't want. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What you got, brother?
Salaki Adawan, if I may. I was thinking, could it be? Could you perceive this as? Cause I guess I might be thinking too deep or something, or too abstract. I'm not sure, but okay. The way I'm looking at it is all of these. Every time these classes come up with like the Seneca Villages, the Oscarvilles, the Wimbledon, North Carolina, now here, it's like you start seeing these patterns of Black excellence in a sense. You know, we start coming and start doing right, but then it's always torn down. But the common thread in all of them was that they weren't doing it in the truth, in a sense. So could it be that the Most High was not going to allow that to prosper because he wasn't in the center of it? So now that we have the UPK, now we can actually build this thing that nobody can tear down, or is it something else?
Okay. I'm gonna answer that. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm about to answer that. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
You need me to pull something out?
Yeah, in a second. I'll tell you where. I'm just trying to find the exact one. Okay. Go to Deuteronomy 28 for me. I'm about to bring it to you. Go to go to 31.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof.
Your ox is your property. You got to look at it as it's not necessarily mean exactly your ox, but it can be literal as well, because we did have oxen and they killed them from the Native Americans as well. But it's not just all the time. It's a manifold scripture, which means there's different ways you can bring it into. So spiritually, our ox was slain right in front of us, which is our businesses, what we owned was slain, was taken away from us. Keep going.
Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee.
And then you're gonna have your ass, which is your mule, which is like where your jackass, they real good about working, right? And that's like whatever it is you got that's working is gonna be taken from you violently. So whatever we got that's working is gonna be taken from us. That's how you gotta look at it as. So whatever that business that's working is going to be taken away from you violently. Keep going.
Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemy, and thou shalt have none to rescue them.
So yep, it says you ain't gonna be restored, and you ain't gonna be able to rescue none of the sheep that you was given that you can make money off of. Whatever that what you can make money off of, because the sheep you could do a lot. You can shear the sheep, make wool. You know what I'm saying? That's wool is prosperous. You know what I'm saying? You can make money off of that wool, but it's gonna be taken away from you, and ain't gonna be restored. It ain't gonna be brought back. Now go to 38.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 38. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shalt gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it.
Now you know they ain't nothing but the white man. He is a locust. He gonna consume everything. He gonna take it. They gather, sharecroppers. They gathered much seed, right? This could be literal. They took seed, put it to the ground, but they don't gather none of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, do they literally gather? They gathered it, yeah, but they don't get no money from it because what it say? The locusts go consume it. They priced them out of it, so they kept all of the profits off of that, and they just got just barely enough to eat. So all of the profit came back to them, and sometimes they was in a deficit. They was in a negative balance. So now they had to work even harder the next year to make even more so they can get out the negative balance. The locusts, that's what the white man is. This sign hell being a damn snake. It should be a locust as well, man. Go ahead, keep reading.
Verse 39. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them.
Damn, that's another devil's right there. They a damn worm. They eat everything. Right? That's why Obadiah said, do they leave any grapes? As I said, if grape gatherers came to you, they would have left some grapes, but these devils don't leave none. Right? But why it said it's a vineyard? Why did it say it was a vineyard and not a garden? Anybody know why it says it's a vineyard and not a garden?
Sir. I'm not sure about that. Salah.
Go ahead. I know he know. Go ahead, Azan. Go ahead.
I'm just giving you come on, concert. Just guessing, sir, if I may. Garden is more like you go on your fruits, your foods, and all that. But a vineyard, that's where you have your wine, you get delicacies, and you can even make some money off of it. I like it.
That's the key. The last thing he said. You can make money off of it. A vineyard is a business. A garden is something personal. Like say you might make clothes for you. That's your garden. But if you make enough clothes, you can sell it. That's your vineyard. That's the difference between garden and vineyard. Okay. Just so y'all know, biblically speaking, that's how you can address those two. All right. So like what did I answer your question? Repeat your question again, because I was about to go on something deep again. Go in there.
Khan Adawan Khan, because everything you just read, like the context for what you're reading, Salakia, is in verse 15 of the same chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly along the lines of what I was asking in terms of, is it because he wasn't in the center? Is because we didn't his law, statutes, and commandments is why the locust is going to eat up our crops, and why the worms eat up our vineyards and those exact things, because they were able to grow and prosper, but without having the Most High in the center, it was never going to stand.
Exactly. Like y'all seen what I told about before when I said that, like in all the scriptures, if you notice a trend, the Most High, he almost forgive everything. You could do all type of mess, but the one thing you do not do is idolatry. That's like numero uno of things you do not do. Even the 10 Commandments, those are all death sentences. Don't get it wrong. But the numero uno, you don't serve another God. You know what I'm saying? He would even like, even from the scriptures, you'll see they could even start to build up the seed, and it probably would have lasted long. He'd be like, okay, now get it together. But if you serving me, if they doing Passover, right? Because you gotta think, even at the time after Maccabees, right? After we started doing Hanukkah, right? After there, they wasn't all following the law, right? But they was only serving one God for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Black people was only serving one God for the most part. So he let stuff build up before he came and let them sack Jerusalem. They had hundreds of years for that happen. If I'm not mistaken, from the time of Hanukkah, it was about 500 to 1,000 years. It was a good amount of time. He gave you time to get yourself right, but black people were serving the Most High at this time. They were doing stuff wrong. You had the Sadducees and Pharisees messing stuff up, but they was at least saying follow the law. Don't eat pork. They were eating it in the back, but they was telling you not to. So God gave a chance. You see what I'm saying? But once you do idolatry, it's a wrap. If y'all know, once you do idolatry, it's over with. It don't take God long. He turned his back on you almost immediately. And that's the issue, because God wasn't gonna let something stand. Because if you let that stand, that shows that you ain't gotta follow him. He'll let every other nation stand. But if you let black people not follow him and be successful, just think about how many black people that's celebrities or famous know that we the Israelites. Probably a lot of them. Are they going to admit it though? That's why what Kanye did was because nobody ever say it. Amari Stoudemire knew he was Israelites. Did y'all even know that? Go ahead.
The thing about what Kanye did, he stood on it.
Yeah.
You know, he stood on it. A lot of them, like Nick
Yeah.
Cannon, he took it back.
Yeah, he took it back.
Yeah. Don't take it back.
Don't they all know this? Go ahead on the conference call. I'm sorry on the Sluggy. Somebody was about to say something on Yabasha. Go ahead, Yabasha.
Yeah, I was just gonna say all of it know, because you know how they pay attention to each other. So the big time rappers, they heard Kanye say that. Everybody, every last one of them know. I heard Snoop Dogg on there saying like he was dissing Kanye, like just like a good old house nigga.
Yep, they all know this. You think they don't know this? They got more money to do more research. Them books that we can't they can't be in every Israelite house. They can buy them books. You know what I'm saying? They can buy them books, right? Like what's that one? What's the one? The Russian icons. That's like $500 out to $1,000. They can buy that, no problem. It is showing that black people during the medieval period, there was black people ruling over all these countries in Europe. That shows you that they can buy those books. We can't afford them. It's $1,000. You need to pay rent next month. You can't buy a book.
Right.
See what I'm saying? But they got that book. They can look at that and look at all the research. They could go on our book list that we got and buy every book tonight and see that we ain't lying. Right? They know this. Don't think they don't know. You about to say something, brother? Go ahead. Can you hear him? All right. Tell me what he said when you can hear him.
Go ahead, I was trying. I was shot. You real low right now. You real low right now, brother.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, I was shot. You real low, brother. You real low.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you better. That sounds better. You back low again, huh? You back low again.
Okay, I was just saying, how about now?
Okay, you sound a little bit better.
Yeah, you might have to type his question out. I can't hear you.
Just send the question in. You got a lot of reverb coming on the phone.
You probably got it playing in the background.
I'm in my mic.
All right, yeah, we got reverb.
Anybody ask me questions in the chat?
Salaki Adawan, if I may.
Go ahead.
It was 200 years between the institution of Hanukkah and the sacking of Jerusalem.
There you go. It was a little while. You had some time. You was able to get yourself established, but he took that. You know what I'm saying? He came and got that because you was out here sinning, man. But you know, you get time, but you don't get as much time. Once you start following them other guys and start doing that, it's over with. All right, somebody on the conference call? All right, I guess we can go back to the video real quick. Try to wrap this thing on up.
And he's actually the think tank behind the Delta Music Institute in Delta State, and that's the Delta Institute is the one who's bringing the Grammy Museum into to Cleveland, Mississippi. But actually, before the Grammy Museum, before Delta Music Institute, was Joe Eagle and Eagle Academy, which was the think tank. The ones who really started the Delta Music Institute were the ones who got the idea from Joe Eagle, who was mentored by some great people before him.
You have a picture here that I believe has Emmett Till's mother on it. You want to talk a little bit about
Well,
that?
after the murder, which was just a few miles from here, after the murder of Emmett Till, there had to be a safe haven, a safe place where blacks could come dealing with that situation, because at that time blacks had become fed up with the action that was being taken against blacks by some of the racist people in the area. And Dr. T.R.M. Howard, you know, these people in Mount Bayou were successful at that time. They were celebrating. It was a black sheriff, black mayor, black business owners, black everything here. And then you had all these things that was happening against black people all around. So Dr. T.R.M. Howard, who was the medical director at the hospital here in Mount Bayou, also was a very highly charismatic speaker, and he would go around and speak in different places. He was the one that Mamie Till came and stayed with as he began to spar this investigation of what happened to Emmett Till.
Now, Dr. Howard is on this particular picture, which...
There's Dr. Howard right in the middle with the bow tie on. He's holding on to the arm of Mamie Till. And they posed, they stopped and posed for that picture. There's some other people, and I can't remember all the names of the people that's on that picture. But Dr. Howard was one of the ones that even throughout the newspaper, if you do a history check, you find out that he sparred openly in the newspaper with J. Edgar Hoover, who he really pushed to come down and do an investigation of what was going on here in Mississippi to black people.
Now, after the Emmett Till situation and this whole thing with Mrs. Till coming to this area and Dr. Howard and all, how did that affect Mount Bayou as a town, as far as its existence? Was it how should I say, was it a boost, or was it kind of viewed as a negative?
Well, Mount Bayou was the place. It was the place where it was a place where they would say that you could not only run from the sheriff, but it was a place where you run for the sheriff. So you would have people that actually, that this was the place that you could come and stop. And so blacks would come here and launch off and do other things to deal with the civil rights era.
Now, Mount Bayou was actually one of the first all African American towns established in this country, throughout the country, along with a place in North Carolina.
Well, Princeville, North Carolina, which is does not have as much as a celebration that we have, it did not make the news. Eatonville, Florida, which celebrates 1887 like we celebrate 1887, but we are the most celebrated, and we're the most documented African American city in the country, and at a lot of the papers from the New York Times all the way down to some of the local papers wrote about Mount Bayou, and they would say that Mount Bayou is the oldest African American city in the country.
So now you guys are still predominantly African American population, if not all.
It just basically, you can basically say that we're all black still, maybe a few, but I always say that, you know, and it's no secret. I mean, you could study us and find out that there's still racism, because you don't find many whites wanting to move into a black neighborhood. What is that to say about how whites thinks about blacks?
Right.
So we don't have a lot of people over the years since 1887 that wanted to move into Mount Bayou that were not African American.
So now you guys still have the very first hospital in the Mississippi Delta, formed by an all-black staff in 1942, I believe it was.
1942. That hospital was built by the nickels and dimes of people in a secret fraternal order called Knights and Daughters of Tabor across this country. And during that time, there were a lot of secret fraternal orders, because you had to do things in secret. They opted to build a hospital during that time, and for the first time, blacks could walk into the front door of a hospital in the middle of this racist Mississippi South, and people were able to be taken care of medically right here in Mount Bayou.
Now, I noticed that you guys have signed the hospital has been reconstructed, remodeled, and reopened.
That's exactly right. It's been refurbished, remodeled, what you want to say, and now it's a Taborian Urgent Care Center has been placed into the building, and the building is back up and going now.
Now, you're in your very first term, the third year of your first term as mayor of Mount Bayou, Mississippi. So what are some of the things that you have implemented that's going on now for the city, the growth of this city, and what's in store for the future of Mount Bayou?
Well, for the first few years, I started building foundations, because I knew Mount Bayou it was very significant in African American history, and our story needed to be told. The African American story needed to be told, and I think that Mount Bayou has a very important part in African American history, so that when we tell our story, the whole African American story really can be told. Our problem is that whites have been telling our story, and we have not. So one of the things that I'm telling everybody, tell a story and tell the real story, so that we all can be proud of who we are. That's one of the things that I'm doing in Mount Bayou. And because of it, we started what we call the Historic Black Towns and Settlement. We've gotten all of the historic black towns that were influenced by Booker T. Washington. We've started an initiative together, and now we're working together to...
Now, just name a few of those, because I'm familiar with Fed.
Well, actually, Fed is not a part of this one. We started with 5 across the country. Grambling, Louisiana, which is the oldest black settlement in Louisiana. Hobson City, Alabama, which is the oldest black in Alabama. Tuskegee, where Booker T. Washington was. Eatonville, Florida, which is the oldest in Florida. And Princeville, again, we added Princeville, North Carolina in there. And, of course, Mount Bayou. And so we call ourselves the Fabulous 5, but now it's 6. But the point is what we formed is a collaboration, and we're setting up a tourist trail around this whole country. We're pulling ourselves up and saying that these are the places that need to be revered in African American history. So I've done that. I've worked that, and we're working very well. Lately, we just had a summit with the with the HBCUs. And the black colleges and at Tuskegee just a few weeks ago. And so now we're including the HBCUs in our initiatives as well. But now in Mount Bayou, I'm still pushing that locally. We set our city up today as a tourist place. And I have a vision to see African American museums in this area.
Now, you made mention to me before we started the show about President Teddy Roosevelt stopping through here on his own private train.
221.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And
I
talking
call it
about
221.
and in the beginning of the foundation of the city,
Yeah.
and speaking very highly.
Well, we know President Theodore Roosevelt. If you look at the history, he had a slight. Um, One of the things that you can hear about Theodore Roosevelt is that he started inviting blacks to the White House. He invited Booker T. Washington to the White House. Of course, he wouldn't do it again after all of the flack that he had behind him inviting Booker T. Washington to the White House. But he revealed what was going on in the black community, and he had to stop at Mound Bayou. And so I say he brought 221 to Mound Bayou, but he got on the back of the train, he made his speech, and he looked up and down the city, and he saw these humongous, majestic homes that had these white picket fences around it. And he said in his speech, and these are 100% Negroes. These are actually 100% Negroes, and they built this place. This is the jewel of the Delta, and that's the name that we coin. What he said, Theodore Roosevelt called us the jewel of the Delta, and we are. We are a jewel in this Mississippi Delta. And he and again, I was saying that Booker T. Washington came here and helped get a bank started here in Mound Bayou. And so we've had some of the greats here in Mound Bayou as well.
Now, what's the future, or what do you plan for the future of this great city?
Now in Mound Bayou, I think we need to be able to do what the Bible says. When the children of Israel were coming across that sea, and God told them, say, you take stones, and you put those stones there. When your children ask you about it, you can point back to the stone and say, this is what this stone means. Now we have more than stones. We can do museums, and we can tell our story. So now I believe it's time for us to start dealing with museums. I'm looking at a black church museum. I'm looking at a museum that'll tell the story of us coming from Africa all the way to America. See, a lot of people don't know. They didn't just bring people from the woods in Africa. They brought kings and queens. They brought people that were very and highly intelligent there, but brought them to a strange land.
Y'all hear all this, right? They brought a very intelligent people from Africa, right? Not the Africans. A very intelligent people that were intelligent there. And they brought them over to Africa. From Africa, right? Y'all hear it. And he put us in the story of the Israelite. Funny how that always come back to that, right? Because it's us. Go ahead.
Like I could real quick. That's why the Africans so damn dumb, they still eat with their fingers.
You know what I'm saying?
We're intelligent people. We know how to use utensils.
Exactly. We know how to use bug spray so the flies don't crawl on us. Are we trying to talk to somebody? You know what I'm saying? We know how to do all that. You know what I'm saying? Sure. I bet when we was there, they didn't have flies all over them because they learned something. I bet you. They're like, no, we like flies. You get rid of all our flies, we get rid of you. That's it. Yeah, I'm mad about them flies. That's their best friend there. Like, our devils, their best friend is the dog. Their best friend is the fly.
Salaki Adawan, if I may.
Go ahead, Salaki.
Salaki Adawan is the problem though with what he's saying is he's putting himself in that story as being a quote unquote spiritual Israelite.
Yeah, I know. Y'all know.
Right. He just blind to not even realize that not only does that story fit him and everybody related to him, it's just it fits him because we are the people of the book.
Kind of. You can relate that back to all the stuff about Egypt. Who
Right.
got out of Egypt? Israel.
Right.
Why? What is called spiritual Egypt in Sodom?
Salaki Adawan, America.
Exactly. That's spiritual Egypt in Sodom and Gomorrah. That is the spiritual of it. Slavery and homosexuality go hand in hand in America, right? That's both of them. So where else? And it said that's where the Jews are going to be at. Where are they at? They say heathens are going to trample all over the Holy Land. Well, what the words say, it'll be trodden down by heathen. That's what the word said. It'll be trodden down by the heathen. Who over there now? The heathen. But where does it say the Jews going to be? In a land that is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. The Bible tells you where they at. It tells you who not it. Am I saying anything wrong? So they should know, but of course, they've been sold because this Christianity thing has just like, it's like a infectious virus, man. It just come in, it's like rabies. You ever heard of rabies? It just get into your body and it just won't go nowhere. It just stuck in you and it just tears your mind to pieces. Like rabies literally makes you like a zombie. That's literally what it does to you. And that's what Christianity does spiritually. It makes you a damn zombie. Like you just walk around, you don't understand nothing. Somebody tell you Christmas not in the Bible, but you say, "Hey, come celebrate Hanukkah with us," and they look at you like, "No, that's a sin." What? They look at you like that's a sin. Go ahead.
Like if I could, I would make it sound like a funny point, but who really got the rabies? The raccoon.
Oh, you stupid. Yeah, there you go. That's who got them. Yep. Because they the ones help brainwash you. That's why, like, even now, a lot of black people, because Kanye started saying that black people is the real Jews, now we don't look like we as crazy no more. Everybody thought we was crazy as hell. But you know what they say? The Bible even say a rich man, what a rich man got to say, everybody listens to, but with a poor man, he is a foolish man. It's basically, I'm paraphrasing. But they say a rich man is the one that's wise, not the poor man. He don't know nothing. But now that the rich man, even he's saying it, now they all like, oh yeah. Everybody, okay, maybe there's some truth to them. Maybe they wasn't yelling for no reason. Maybe they do got jobs. And they really is passionate about it because they want to tell us we don't have jobs. We need to get a job. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't be yelling out there if we had a job. Right? All right, keep playing for me. Was that it on that young man?
Khan Adwan Khan. The water, sir.
That's right, go ahead.
And turn them into slaves. But we need to respect what came from Africa and tell the real story. Talk about how they put us on that boat, but also talk about how we came and were very ingenuous. These people that built the mercantile stores and the ones that built the agriculture on the backs of our folks. This country became great. Cotton was king in the South. And it is what made the Confederacy. When they fly that Confederate flag, a lot of folks get upset. But when they fly that Confederate flag, it says to me that it was our folks who actually bankrolled the fact that they could even make a flag like that. And so what I'm saying,
I don't know how you have pride in that. I'm trying to figure out.
We were the people that made this country great.
Right.
And it was those people that came into Mount Bayou and made Mount Bayou great at that time as well.
Well, Mayor Johnson, we thank you again. We appreciate you for letting us come in, and good luck in the future with
Thank
the future
you so
of this
very
city.
much.
All right?
Keep your eyes on Mount Bayou.
Right here, historical Mount Bayou, Mississippi, the jewel of the Mississippi Delta. You have been on the talk of the town.
Actually, this is a lot of Alpha Phi Alphas would like to look at this one. This was the home of Fred and Mariah Miller, but it doesn't exist now. But this home was he was the third general president of Alpha Phi Alpha. Many A5As know about him, and he stayed right here in Mount Bayou. And then the home of Mayor Booz, and his wife Mary Booz was a National Republican Committee woman. A lot of people don't know that blacks were Republican back in the day. And Mount Bayou also was an education center. And this is a picture of our Bolivar County Training School. And people came from all around to go to school here. That's why the large houses were built in Mount Bayou, because people used to stay with other people in Mount Bayou as well. And of course, here's a picture of one of the physicians in Mount Bayou. The first brick church built in Bolivar County was First Baptist Church, actually, and it was first called Green Grove Baptist Church, and before that it was a brush arbor. It was where the people finally came to Mount Bayou, got off the train, and built a brush arbor where they can say they can worship God freely. And coming out of that was this First Baptist Church, and it is a majestic church here now in Mount Bayou, Mississippi. Of course, you know, we celebrate the bank building here at Mount Bayou, which is not far from me, right around the corner there, which was built and it was organized and opened in 1904. And then that structure there was later on built as well. And it was the headquarters for many other, the bank building was the headquarters for many other organizations here in Mount Bayou as well. But this is one of the things that we applaud, and that is that the Mount Bayou Oil Mill and Manufacturing Company was opened here in Mount Bayou in 1912. And that oil mill was it was the first undertaking of this size of African Americans anywhere in this country. And here's a picture of all these. I look at this picture, and I'd love to look at this picture over and over again. It was thousands of African Americans came during the opening of this oil mill. And you see these pictures of these men in these suits and their hats. And for me, that is a powerful, powerful picture in Mississippi. And these men, it was more than 16,000 people attending when Booker T. Washington in 1912 opened the oil and dedicated that oil mill in November 1912. So goes Mount Bayou. This is it. This is where we are. This is a great place in African American history.
The Mount Bayou Museum is located at the former band building for JFK High School.
How much left on the video?
After the consolidation of Bolivar and Mount Bayou school districts, the museum opened on July 10, 2021. Over the last few months, the owners have received various artifacts from DuSable Museum in Chicago that are being used for the visuals in Women of the Movement, a series based on the life and activism of Mamie Till Mobley, mother of Emmett Till.
Mount Bayou is really important to the nation as far as Black history is concerned. There's so much history in African American history that need to be told. And we have the privilege to tell that story specifically now about Mamie Till and her quest to take care of the situation with her son and African American history and coming to Mount Bayou. And Mount Bayou had a very integral part in that and a whole lot of other Black history.
Each replica included in this museum helps tell Emmett Till's story piece by piece, from the table where he was playing checkers, the 200-pound gin fan tied to his body to drown him, and the ring that was used to identify his body. The ring was a gift from his father, who was in the Army. The recreation of the Jet magazine tells his story, along with the infamous picture of his body lying in an open casket.
And we would just like everybody to come and see it and take a look, because this movie is really putting the story out there, and it's evoking a lot of emotions, and there are some surprises here that we have that we want people to see once you get here. I won't reveal it now, but there are some big surprises that really going to go along that vein of evoking emotions and bringing people back to that story and understanding where we came from and where we still have to go here in this country with race relations, because if those types of things can damage that young man that way, then things need to change, and we really need to know who we are and where we came from.
For more information, contact 909-395-7736 or visit MountBayouMuseum.com. Reporting from Mount Bayou, this is Ashley Renee for the Delta News.
celebrating Mount Bayou, Mississippi, the oldest all-black town in the United States.
Turn it on.
Mount Bayou, located in...
All right, you can go back to just me on that. Oh, no, you can do just the brothers, I guess, right now. Put on just the brothers. You see just the heads. Dang, man. Just taking brothers out the truth, man. See? Just go put on there. Say, man, we got to get the brother right, man. You got to train him up. Train the child up as he should go, man. He's young in this truth. You got to get him right. All right? Whoever that was, you can call back in, man. Good night, man. But all right. Anybody got any questions at all? Anything anybody want to bring out before we close it out?
Like you, sir, if I may.
Go ahead.
Kind of cut the water, so real heavy class, the water. And I wanted to add on something you brought up earlier, about psychiatrists and all that. If we have priests, back into the the standard family for our people and the black man in every household, we wouldn't need all these crazy jobs, psychiatrists, parole officers, crazy attorneys. We wouldn't need any of that if we had a UPK, and the hearts and minds of the people. We would solve all these.
It says somebody has a question in the chat. You can keep going. I'm slow. You can keep going.
The water, sir, if I may. We have the truth and the hearts and minds of the people. We won't need all these, trial attorneys, these judges taking, bribe money, and all types of jobs will be eliminated overnight if we just had, the truth, the UPK in every household. Salak, sir.
Exactly right. I remember one time I heard the general say, he said, we don't need all these rich people and all that. What we need in America for black people is judges, people that judge over our matters and judge righteously over us. All right, what was the question?
The question in the chat was Sankofa Divine. He said, how much do we know about the tribe of Gad?
As far as what? Okay. That's kind of if you can put some more inside the chat, we can go into it. But what we know, I can just briefly go over it. The tribe of Gad, even though it's not the topic, but I can go over it briefly. The tribe of Gad is the Native American Indians. They're on record saying that they were the tribe of Gad. If you want to get into all of that, one of our brothers, Captain Katasa, he did a excellent lecture on basically all of the tribes. He did an excellent lecture, and he showed all of the truth when it comes to them being the tribe of Gad. He broke it all down, that how Gad became like the religious leaders of all of the northern kingdom, and that's why they still wore the fringes like they normally did. He broke all of that out. So that's just a very broad question. You got to kind of pinpoint a little bit more how much we know about the tribe of Gad. And I know even biblically, the general brought out one time. He said that they how Gad had feathers with them, so like that in their clothing. They even did that in the time of the Bible. So he brought that out before too. They even did feathers back in the biblical days. So that's who they are, the tribe of Gad. All right. Anybody else? All right. With that, pass the class over to precinct officer, Mashallah.
Class, I don't want to hit the class, sir. All right, that was a heavy class, man. Heavy history class, like always, I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We had the I.S.U.P.K. started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother and sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which a brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10. My I.S.U.P.K means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Preach fund, free will offering, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We are in the feast of Hanukkah. It's an 8-day feast. Remind Akim and Akwath to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarves, and to Google dress every time they are heading to the school. And with that, we'll give the teacher a courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amajim, Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahshabakatah.
Yahweh Shem Shabakatah.
We do have a sister in the school. Yayimata, which means hands down. We do have a sister in the school. Sar, which means turn. Sis, go ahead and stand up. Amijah. Turn this way. You face this way, sis. Yeah, you face this way. You too wild. Face this way. You put your right hand over your left hand. There you go. Shame face to the Lord. Put your head down. Men of Israel, Abijah, Shabbat, Amijah, Barak, Yahweh, Shemar.
When we do the rock like this, you put your hand.
Oh, you put your hand over your chest. Just like it.
Open hand. So, all right. Go ahead.
Yahweh, Shemar.
Yahweh, Shemar.
Alathan.
Alathan.
Bahashem.
Bahashem.
Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah.
Yahweh Shah.
And what that means is it means peace, Lord, watch over you in the name of Christ. That's what that means. You know, Yamatami, which means hands down. Class dismissed. What was you on? You got your...
I got you.
For so long you've been sighing and crying, begging for justice, and here the Lord is bringing you justice right here to your streets.
City